everybody, it's me, Jill, and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of Vanderpump Rules, Season 7, Episode 22, The Reunion, Part 1. Okay, this is the first of 3 parts for the reunion. Based on Part 1, I can only assume it's so that we can get all the fighting in, because, wow. This group knows how to go after each other. Okay, so before it even begins, they're in their dressing rooms getting ready, and you can hear a PA say, okay, we've almost got a full house on the set. We're just waiting on Sandoval's hair. So everybody's out there. Andy greets everyone. You know how he goes around the room and says hello. He talks to Brittany and Jax about their wedding. It's 3 months away to the day, I guess. Kristen is sitting next to Jax. He skips over her to talk about Lala getting engaged to Rand. She shows her ring and it's like some giant round diamond. And then he continues around the room and I thought, oh my gosh, he forgot Kristen. But no, he may have done it on purpose because when he gets to Kristen, she has a little bit of a bombshell. He asks her if she's single and she said, I am. And everybody is shocked. Stassi's like, I didn't know that. Katie looks surprised. I mean, nobody in that group seems to have been aware of the fact that she and Carter broke up. I don't know. I mean, Andy said, okay, we'll get into it later. And we didn't address it for the rest of part 1 here. I don't know if we will pick it up later or not. But yeah, I mean, you know, breaking news. So we start off by talking about James and his friendship with the others. And Andy brings up the rap that he made up about Jax and Faith. Lisa asked him if he planned it, and he said, no, Lisa, it's freestyle. So apparently it just came off the cuff. It just came to him, and he regrets it. He said he regretted it. You know what? No one would have remembered it or probably even heard it. It was just one line in this rap. The music's loud and people are dancing. I bet half the people in the room didn't even hear it. But of course, now we're making it bigger than life. I mean, it would have been better if nobody said a word about it, you know? Anyway, James said that he's still friends with Sandoval, Ariana, and Sheena. Pretty much nobody on the other side of the room. Except for Schwartz. Can't stay mad at Schwartzy. And Katie looked like she wanted to kill. Okay, I have 2 side notes. The first one is, I have a theory that Katie told Schwartz before the show that he better have her back. Because later on, he does something where he even reacts bigger than Katie does to it. And I was thinking, wow, he's really like stepping up. But now that I think about it more, I bet this was like Katie doing a little pre-gaming with Schwartz and telling him that there will be hell to pay if he does not have her back, you know? I don't know. Just a guess. Just a theory. And the other side note was, what is going on Ariana? It's like she has a chest wound. I don't know if it's a scar. If you guys know what that scar is from, I don't know. Maybe she's always had it and I never noticed. Like, this could be something she's had since childhood. This could be from a sidecar accident. I don't know. Okay, so now Lala is talking to James about the loss of their friendship. And apparently their friendship meant a lot to her, but that James ruined it. She's not wrong. He's always said mean, vile things about Rand, and James is the type of guy that when he fights, if he feels backed in a corner, he just fights dirty. Like, it's way over the top and unnecessary. I think he's probably said some things that he can't really recover from with her. But Lala is not an innocent here either. She starts to talk to him and he doesn't want to hear it. So again, he's not looking at her. And she's like, could you at least look at me? Because I'm using my precious breath to speak to you. Oh, get over yourself, Lala. You're using your precious breath. Well, you know what? Everybody's breath is precious. Anyway, she's telling James that, he's burned all these bridges. And he's like, that's fine. You know what? You're the last bridge then, so consider it burnt. Everyone's like, oh, because he's being so harsh to Lala. He's hurt because she almost like tricked him. When she brought him to that coffee shop and she said, I'm going to be there for you. You need to stop drinking, and I know it's going to be hard, but I'm here for you. And they made the plans to go in the studio together and all that, and then she doesn't show up so that she could be with the witches of WeHo. That is like Mean Girl 101, right? I think he felt betrayed and hurt. I don't blame him for not trusting her. When Lisa got her to talk to him, and she said, if you ever need to talk to me, you can. And he's like, yeah, if I need to talk, I'll talk to my therapist. And I was like, good for you, because, yeah. Of course he is acting a little over the top, and Vanderpump is like, why are you so angry, James? And he goes, I'm not angry, Lisa. It's Kristen won't shut up, and, which it kind of true. Kristen, of course, is seething with hatred for him, so she wants to interject whenever she can. But it wasn't Kristen. He's hurt by Lala. Now we talk about Sheena, and Andy said last year you were Rob-obsessed, and we get a little montage of Rob, 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 Rob. And this year, it's all about your best friend, Adam. And we get a little montage of, he's my best friend. We're just best friends, but he's my best friend. I don't want to lose my best friend. So that story ends with what's the status of you and Adam now? And the status is pretty much what it was last year. They're just hanging and banging. We take a look back at Jax's proposal to Brittany. Andy asks if there's a prenup, and Jax said no. And Andy said, no, why not? And he goes, because we're going to be together forever. Okay, I almost couldn't finish that sentence without laughing. Yeah, they're going to be together forever. Or Jax doesn't have any money. Right? I mean, come on. What's more likely? Then he asks Lala if she has a prenup, which is also a laugh. And she says yes, she does. Lisa acts like she's shocked. And she said, no, Rand has worked very hard his whole life, and I don't want him to think Lala's coming after him. So then we get the story of Randall's proposal. They were having dinner on a beach, and then he has created a video of Lala with his daughters and Rand with Lala's dad. And after that, he gets down on one knee and asks her to marry him. And he goes, you have to answer in 30 seconds. And she's like, okay, yes. And then there were huge fireworks all down the beach. It was just like a movie, but not Gotti. Andy then brings up the fact that Randall has been on Flipping Out, and he's also been on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but he won't come on Vanderpump Rules. Lala said he doesn't want to, and I don't want him to. Really, the others are a little bit upset that Lala gets to keep that part of her life private because none of the others get to keep their love lives private. And, that's sometimes the juiciest part of their life or the messiest part of their life. And to be able to keep your main relationship off camera, I think the others are a little resentful of that. So Sheena said, I feel like the rest of us give 100% and you give 80%. I'm so glad you're such a great addition to the show, Lala, but I just feel like you don't give all of yourself. And Lala's like, I give a lot. Rand doesn't want to do that. And Sheena's like, I just think that's not fair because we all give 100% of ourselves. And Lala said, well, then get someone who has a career. Ooh. And Sheena goes, what's that supposed to mean? And Lala said, well, maybe if they had something that was really big and important to them that they wanted to protect, maybe then they wouldn't have to be on camera. So Stassi said, that was actually kind of rude. My boyfriend is just as important as your fiance. Lala, I feel like my relationship is a little bit different. And she's looking around like, am I wrong, guys? Anyway, she's like, Randall doesn't make up my life. He's a huge part of my life, but I have other things to share. So now Lisa said, well, he's the most important thing in your life. And when you're not sharing that relationship, you're not sharing your life. And Lisa said to like the group then, so he doesn't socialize with you, does he, Randall? And they're all like, yes, he does. Kristen's like, well, not James Kennedy. Oh, God. She's gotta throw a dig in there. So Lisa's like, oh, well, then he should show some of his life on here. Sheena's like, we all show 100% of our lives except you. And Lala goes, no offense. Which is, of course, the sign for I'm about to say something that's very offensive. No offense, but you bring some really sketchy dudes on the show that just want camera time. Oh my God. Well, how could she take offense at that, Lala? So Sheena's answer to that is, oh my God, Adam is the most awkward person on camera. And with Rob and Shay, they knew that it was important and that my job was dependent on showing 100% of my life. Rob didn't want to be on camera. You can ask anybody in here. And Lala goes, oh yeah, that's why he invited people to his home for dinner or to his cottage. Sheena, that was me making him do it. Lala, oh my God, I can't. I just died. I'm dead. Bored. Moving on. This is why I'm struggling with you, Lala. Next, we talk about Tom Tom, and Andy asks Lisa, did you ever intend for the Toms to really be a part of this thing? What role did you want the Toms to have? And she said, well, definitely. We wanted them to get creative with the cocktail list. Absolutely. I think we feel like they could have come around more. Oh my God. You did not want them around at all. Remember when Nick Elaine was unloading the trucks and the boys came around the corner and they wanted to be part of it? And Nick Elaine was like, no effing way. I want those two clowns around my 500,000 light fixtures. I will hang each one of those on my own, even if it takes me several months. Lisa had to shoo them away down the street to Pump to talk to them and give them lunch and keep them away from Tom Tom. So don't tell me you wished they were around more. That was a joke. I think even Andy knew it because he said, Tom Sandoval, do you feel that way? And Tom's like, no. Lisa, really? Yeah, Lisa, really? So apparently the Toms spent months and months and several $1,000s creating these different cocktails and perfecting them, only to have her kind of bring in Pandora and then Sly, remember the expert there, who came in like a day and either had her own drinks or she tweaked the ones that the Toms worked on. So Schwartz is like, yeah, I hate that, our drinks were changed because we worked really hard on them. I don't know anything about the restaurant business or anything, but I have a feeling that part was about the drinks being either too complicated or too expensive to make with the recipe the Toms had. That's my guess. Anyway, they weren't happy about how things were changed. And then Ariana, of course, is defending the Toms. And she said, where's the frozen shot machine? We get a little flashback to them. They had gotten this machine and they were making these little frozen shots like on a spoon and you just kind of eat them, I guess. I don't know. But it looked cool. I kind of remember Lisa going, oh, where are we going to put that? I don't think she was thrilled about it. I remember Sandoval saying this is one of the things that will make us unique. But here at the reunion now, we go over to Lisa and she said, well, that was Ken, really. Oh, way to throw Ken under the bus when Ken will stand by you through thick and thin, Lisa Vanderpump. How dare you? He is the most loyal man on earth. Anyway, she said that was Ken, really. He planned out the bar, which he's done, 35 times already? Okay, we get it. He knows what he's doing. And he said, where is it? Sandoval, it was sitting there for 3 months. Okay, that's your excuse, Lisa? that you couldn't find the machine? And that's why you built the bar without leaving a space for it? Okay. Ariana said, that's exactly why they wanted to be there while the bar was being built. Andy, Ariana, do you think Lisa respects the Toms? That wasn't too shady of a question. And Ariana said, I think off camera she does. but when they're on camera, it's like a shtick. That's probably the truest thing that anybody's ever said on the show. That is their shtick. It's Lisa and the lovable goofs and their relationship with each other. Then Jack said, I know this is none of my business, but you're my friend, so I just want to ask, have you guys been paid at all? Okay, if they're your friends, how many times were you guys sitting around while, the guys were complaining that they haven't seen a dime yet? Listen, I know we need these questions to be on camera so that we can all enjoy them. But, come on. So Schwartz said they haven't seen any money yet. Andy said, well, okay, now, to be fair, I've invested in restaurants before, and it takes a while to get some money out of your investment. And Katie said, well, I don't think they were looking for a return yet, but just maybe like a salary or some sort of a quarterly kickback or something. And Lisa goes, I don't take a salary. Ariana, they just want to understand how it's going to work. How is this not something you guys worked out before you became partners? Didn't you sign some papers and stuff? It's frustrating me that they did all this, they're in business with her and moving forward, blah, 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 and they don't even understand how or when they will ever get paid. I'm just saying, shouldn't that have been a question you asked a long time ago? Anyway, Lisa starts to say, we spent $2.5 million on TomTom. And we didn't ask them to come up with 10% of that. And Schwartz said, well, our value doesn't come from our money. And Lisa's like, well, my expertise adds value too. But what Schwartz said is exactly right. Their value doesn't come from money. They don't have it right now. Their value comes from their personalities, their fame, such as it is. TomTom is successful and people are coming because of Lisa Vanderpump, yes, but also because of the Toms. They hope the Toms will be there when they come in. It's the same thing with Sir. I don't think Sir is the best restaurant in Hollywood, but I think it does a good business every night because people want to catch a glimpse of somebody they know from Vanderpump Rules. That's why I thought it was so smart of Lisa in the first place to create this place. Okay, next, Raquel and her sleeves join the group. Raquel walks in like she just came from the Met Gala. This dress has twice the personality of the girl inside of it. I don't hate it. It's crazy over the top, but when have I not liked over the top? If I didn't like over the top, I wouldn't be watching any of these shows. So it made a statement. The look on the faces of the other girls, though, was priceless. Bombshell number 2, we find out that Raquel is going to be working at Sir next year. Good job, sweetie. I just asked this question last week. Where does Raquel work? Does she have a job? She does now. Yeah. I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. She's super fun to impersonate. And, I would love to see if we get to see another layer of Raquel. I've often questioned whether she was kind of faking this sweet, kind of spacey personality. It'll be fun to see how things pan out for her. All right, so Andy says to her, Hope looked you straight in the eye and gave you specific details of places where she had slept with James. So we get a flashback to when Hope tells her that when we were at Coachella, you went to bed early and James and I were in the kitchen. So we cut back to Raquel and she said, Hope was never at the house we were renting. That you know of, because Hope said you were in the other room asleep. So Andy's like, well, why would she say it if it wasn't true? What's in it for Hope? Katie, same thing that's in it for Raquel. Okay, so now Raquel's reply is about 25 minutes long. At least that's what it seems like. Because A, she talks slow, and B, it's being constantly interrupted by this side thing that's going on now between Jax and James. And this was the triggering thing for everybody. She starts by saying, I can understand you thinking that here's this beauty queen. She wants the limelight, That's understandable. So, everyone's giving each other looks over the beauty queen comment. And Jax said, you just called yourself a beauty queen. So James replies to that and said, yeah, because she is. Raquel, oblivious, continues on. It couldn't be further from the truth. I actually started competing in pageants because... James. She is. Is yours? I don't think so. Raquel. I actually have social anxiety. Now, things are building up here. Now Jack says, I guess to Andy, he's belittling her while Raquel's talking. James. Because you're belittling her. Andy's like, just stop. And he tells Raquel to go on. And, oh my God, she's starting from the beginning. I know you're thinking this beauty queen. Oh, God. No. Just pick up where you left off. Can you remember where that was? Jax is still yelling at James, and then Ariana goes, shut up. Just let her talk. Now, Jax and Brittany are like, why don't you tell James to shut up, Ariana? Now Brittany's getting mad. You're supposed to be our best friends. Now everyone's trying to figure out why Raquel is willing to ignore multiple accusations of James's cheating and blindly believe him. James's response is, because they're all just trying to take James Kennedy down. Yeah, that's what's happening. You're the most important person in the world, James, and everybody's out to get you. So now Ariana said, when Raquel moved out to LA and they moved in together, they told me that was like a fresh start for their relationship. So anything that happened before that, it was like wiping the slate clean, which is just so stupid. Because honestly, at this point, it isn't about whether he cheated or not. It's that he's lying about it. Okay, whatever. But anyway, so Andy says to Raquel, so do you believe that James cheated on you before you guys moved in together? Which was a great question because all she's ever said was, yes, she believes that he never cheated on her. Raquel's answer? I think that James wasn't completely faithful to me before we moved in together. We pan over to Kristen, who of course has a big smile on her face, but I wanted to see more of a reaction out of James. Because as far as I know, James is still denying that. He's denying ever having slept with Hope, and that didn't happen, and Hope's lying. So now that they have this sort of fresh start thing, where anything that happened before they moved in together is kind of like forgiven, is he now going to admit to it? I mean, that's what I want to find out, but we don't go there, unfortunately. We move on to Andy asking Sandoval about, him being a big supporter of James, and do you agree with everything James does? And Sandoval's like, hell no, Katie, but you'll excuse as much of it as you can, huh? Then Andy says to Raquel, you're one of the few people out here with a college degree, yet your intelligence is constantly coming into question. And that's triggering for you, isn't it? No, Andy, that wouldn't be triggering if my intelligence was constantly being questioned. But I am going to say this. In defense of people who did not go to college, I know people who have more formal education than I do who are less intelligent than I am. And I don't think I'm the smartest person in the world by any stretch, but I definitely don't think the fact that I only have a high school education means that I am less intelligent than somebody who went to college. Anyway, Raquel's answer is, yeah, it is. Actually, I'm going for my master's degree in occupational therapy to work with children with special needs. Which is great, and everybody, applauds her for that. Next, we get into Lala's behavior after losing her father. How she's kind of lashing out at everyone. I guess she says she doesn't apologize for what she said to Raquel. And Lala's thing is kind of, well, she spoke about my dad. And Sandoval, thank God somebody said it, because she didn't speak about your dad. I don't know why this is a pet peeve of mine, but this happened 2 years ago maybe on Real Housewives of Orange County, when they were in Ireland and Kelly and Tamra got into a huge fight, and Kelly said, no wonder her daughter won't speak to her. She's a monster, or something like that. And Tamra was incensed that Kelly was speaking about her daughter because children are off limits. It just drove me nuts that nobody was saying, no, she wasn't speaking about your daughter. She didn't say anything about your daughter's character or your daughter's intelligence she made no judgment about your daughter other than to say, her behavior makes sense to me now. That was all she said about your daughter. The definite insult was for you, Tamra, not your daughter. This is a similar situation. Just the fact that Raquel is saying you're playing the dad card doesn't mean she is disrespecting your dad. She's disrespecting you. She's calling your character into question, not your dad's. She's saying you're the type of person who is using your dad's death to, garner sympathy or as an excuse to behave poorly. That's what she's saying. It's all about criticizing you, Lala, not your dad. And so I think people, I don't know if they do it on purpose to deflect from what's really going on or if they really don't understand. But thank you, Tom Sandoval, because he's the one that said she didn't say anything about your dad. And Lala yells, she did in her interviews. Okay, a couple of things. One, I don't think she said anything bad about your dad in her interviews, and I think I would remember that. Secondly, I wish somebody would have pointed this out. Lala, you didn't know about those interviews until it aired on TV. So, not really an explanation for your behavior that day. Then there's some back and forth shouting about whether losing a loved one gives you a free pass to act like a monster. Andy has a final question for Raquel. Raquel, you've really stuck with James through all the ups and downs, so how are you guys today? And she said, really good. And Lisa said, you're very supportive of him, but do you hold him accountable? And Raquel said, I think that James is doing better because of my approach. When he messes up, I don't criticize him like, no, you're a bad kid. But I'll ask him, why do you do bad things? Jax goes, well, your training in child therapy should help. Oh, God. And then we say goodbye to Raquel and her sleeves. Then Andy asks Lisa about her brother and how's she coping. And she gets all choked up and she said, I held it together while filming. I'm sorry. I don't want to bring everybody down. And everyone's like, you're fine. It's okay. Brittany, we think you're very strong, Lisa. And then Lisa said, I went to a grief counselor. I didn't do very well this year. I'm sorry. Can you give me 5 minutes? I'll come back. So she walks off, and Andy, just to make things worse, said, Lala, you suffered a loss this year. Yeah, we were just talking about her monstrous behavior, remember? We do hear more of the story, and it's pretty tragic. She said that he was driving, and he had a stroke, and the car caught on fire. So, I mean, I feel like she's missing a step there. Like, he must have hit something, I guess. Anyway, he was recovering and her mom called her. She went to Utah and her mom said, I don't think your dad's doing too well. And so Lala made an appointment for him to see a cardiologist on Monday. And that Saturday morning, he didn't wake up. Yeah. We then talk about Jax too, because he lost his father last year, right before they filmed the reunions last year. And Andy asks him if he has any relationship with his mother, and he said no, he hasn't spoken to her. Then Andy brings up this tweet that James posted about Jax and Lala. that they should make peace with their losses and move on. James said, I didn't say that. And he didn't. He didn't say and move on, because I think that has a very different connotation. Maybe that was the sentiment. Just because it's James and Jax, I don't think there's any love lost there. So Jax says to him, yeah, why would you post that? And James, again, says he regrets doing that. But he said, did you not make a Twitter account as Raquel, saying I did cheat on her, things like that? And Jax acts like he has no idea what he's talking about. And then Ariana said, Jax, your phone number was attached to that account. Oh. Okay. Then Jax and James are both puffing up their chests, getting in each other's faces. And somewhere out there are two therapists questioning their abilities, wondering if they made a bad career choice. James, of course, he just goes back to his old tricks over and over again. He's not learning anything. It's frustrating to watch. But like I said, his thing is to go for the jugular. Now, because you said something that hurt me, I'm going to really hurt you. He's going to attack Brittany because he figures that will hurt Jax more. So Shayna's telling him, don't talk about Brittany. It's not about Brittany. But he can't stop himself. He is on a roll. She looks like a disco ball with that dress. Why don't you just go have your babies and go back to Kentucky? You belong there with those hillbillies. And then he makes these faces. Everyone's yelling. James is saying that Jax made this fake Twitter account as Raquel and that it's got homophobic slurs and stuff like that on there. Yet I say one thing and I get fired for it. This is what I was talking about. Because Katie and Schwartz both said, no. But Schwartz was the one who stood up and got kind of loud, and he said, that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. That one comment was not the sole reason you were fired. And you can see Katie sitting there looking up at Tom good job, Tom. You're doing what I told you. No, I mean, that's me. That's my theory inside, but it's certainly a possibility, right? Now Lisa comes back in the middle of this scream fest. So what happens next is that Sandoval is jumping in to defend James. But James has gone so far off the rails that I'm not sure why he's even bothering. I get that it's hard to see an underdog, and maybe Sandoval sees James as the underdog getting picked on by the bigger guy, but James isn't helping himself. And it's really hard to side with anybody here. But Sandoval said, you went after his girlfriend. But kids, have you never heard that two wrongs don't make a right? You all go after each other all the time. It's almost required for being on the show. But anyway, Brittany said, Tom, he went after my family, and you're his best man. Even Schwartz was like, stop, dude, to Sandoval. But it's loud and it's crazy. And we end part 1 with Andy yelling, guys, shut the up. Can't wait for part 2. Please subscribe if you haven't, give a like if you did, and leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. I'm going to be right back here next Monday at 1 p.m. Central Time for the next recap of Vanderpump Rules, the reunion part 2. I hope I see you guys there. Bye.